Today I'm going to show you how I make a delicious plant-based white chocolate made from Koji. Honestly, I think it's better than the real thing. I give this to my guests at the end of the tasting menu as a little leaving gift for them to take away with them. I really think that this is that good that I even used it to make my own wedding favours for my wedding when I got married this summer. We had so much fun. It was such a beautiful day and amazing to share the celebrations with family and friends in Stirling, up in Scotland where we met. And I'm really glad that I made these favours, but also that the chocolates were the only thing that I committed myself to making, so I could really focus on enjoying the day. I'll get back to the recipe now, but I'll share a few more wedding pictures at the end of the video if you're interested. I've made other videos on bean to bar chocolate here on the channel, and homemade chocolate is something that I find really exciting because it has all of this creative potential for different flavour profiles and ingredients that you can work with. Whether it's using the most traditional method and making a dark chocolate like these that I've shown on the channel in the past, or something more unusual like the Kinako blonde chocolate that I make to pair along with the flavours of hazelnut and cherry for one of the sweet courses on the menu. And this Koji white chocolate is something I wanted to share on here because it's really special in terms of its flavour, but it's also one of the easiest chocolates that I make, so a great recipe to share on here, I think. It has a flavour that's way more complex than most standard white chocolates, because we've got some of those beautiful aromatics of Koji in there. Unlike commercial white chocolate, which is just made using relatively flavourless, cheap milk powder. I first developed this chocolate when I was working on a dish for Great British Menu, and in that process I did side-by-side tests with this against Valrhona. And no shade on Valrhona, they make a stunning white chocolate, but ultimately I preferred this one. It tempers really beautifully, so it's great to work with, and of course having a really good plant-based white chocolate opens up a load of possibilities for different desserts as well. For instance, I'm going to talk about this in a future video, but I've used this to make a hawthorn and Koji aerated white chocolate finished with hawthorn blossom nectar. It's something really beautiful and unique, and a recipe I'll make a full video about on here soon, so do make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into the process of actually making this. The key ingredient in this plant-based white chocolate is dried Koji, which replaces that milk powder normally used in white chocolate. So here, instead of the relatively characterless sweetness that a lot of white chocolate can have, this Koji white chocolate has a much more nuanced Amazaki-like flavour. If you're watching this, then I'd guess that you're already familiar with Koji, but if you aren't, don't worry, I have a full video all about it, which I'll link to down in the description. In brief, it's basically rice, or sometimes another grain, that's been inoculated with Koji spores. It's a traditional Japanese ingredient used in making things like soy sauce, miso and sake, and it's packed full of enzymes that break other ingredients down to create delicious, complex fermented flavours. I use it quite a lot in my cooking, and it's one of those ingredients that's just endlessly interesting once you start learning and working with it. For this recipe, we're using dried Koji because you can only use dry ingredients in chocolate making. So great if you want to make your own fresh Koji and then dry it, and you can follow the instructions in my Koji video to do that. But it's also absolutely fine to buy a really nice high quality dried Koji and use that, and you'll get fantastic results. We're also using just a little bit of ground oats in this recipe, and that just helps with the finished mouthfeel and richness of the chocolate. It's got a really nice smoothness to it, a bit like having oat milk in a coffee, and I actually think it's a little bit less cloying than dairy and ultimately gives you a better flavour release to the chocolate. I start off making the chocolate by warming up the chocolate grinder, and you need a stone grinder like this that can run for 48 hours to make a really nice high quality chocolate. Texture is so important for chocolate, and working on a small scale, nothing else is going to give you the smoothness that you need for great quality chocolate. So once my stone grinder is warmed up, it's ready for me to start adding in my ingredients, and I'll list all these fully down in the video description. First, I'm going to pour some of my melted cocoa butter into the grinder, and then I'm ready to add my Koji and oats. I've blitzed both of those in a blender first to make this grinding process a little bit smoother and easier. And then I'll also add in the sugar that gives the chocolate the right level of sweetness. And then this needs to grind continually for 48 hours so that the chocolate is refined enough that it melts beautifully in the mouth and its texture is perfectly smooth. It's really important for great chocolate that it can't have even the tiniest hint of graininess to it. The very last ingredient to go into this is just a little bit of dried vanilla at the very end in that last 2 hours of the grinding process. And then that's my Koji white chocolate ready to temper and work with. For what I'm going to show you today, I'm going to set this into some molds, and I'll show you two different versions here. The ones I make for my guests as a leaving gift at the end of the tasting menu, and the ones that I made as wedding favours for my wedding that I mentioned right at the start of the video. I've printed my own chocolate transfers using a printer that prints edible ink onto cocoa butter sheets. The great thing with this is it lets you make your own designs of chocolate transfers, so there's pretty much endless potential with these. I use these for my Kinako blonde chocolate that I mentioned at the start of the video to add some abstract patterns that I feel really suits that dish and the place on the tasting menu. And it's a great way to be able to personalise batches of chocolate. So for my wedding favours, I finished them with our initials. So with my cocoa butter transfers in the moulds, I've tempered my chocolate using the method I've shared on here before. And now I can fill these moulds up with my Koji white chocolate. And then lastly, I just finish them with a little bit of crystallised rose and some caramelised almond and fennel pollen. You can see some of the finished chocolates that I give to my guests here on some of the beautiful ceramics made by Becky Morris, my long-term ceramicist collaborator. If you want to explore a little bit more and go a bit deeper on bean to bar chocolate, I've got videos that I'll link in the description about those. And if you want to see that Kinako blonde chocolate and how I use it as part of a dessert, I'll also put a link to that. And I am currently putting together the video on the aerated Koji white chocolate with hawthorn blossom nectar, so you can expect to see that up here soon. My main focus as a chef is that I cook a botanical tasting menu for just 8 guests a night, and I try and share a bit of that work over here on YouTube too. So do have a little bit of a look around if you want to see some of the other dishes from my menu and get a sense of the work that I do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.